So when you're going back and forth with your drafter, you can make it very smooth, and so that you don't use or waste any more of their time than you need to, and so that you don't waste any money of yours, and it can just flow smoothly. So in my last video, as we follow this build, this spec, I talked about how to work with professionals and how to work with drafters, architects, engineers, builders. And in our area, typically architects aren't used for houses, not for your standard house. And so then the builder would guide the planning process. In that case, obviously it's me. If it's you and you're building your custom home, or if you're working with a builder, then they would assume that responsibility. So we had our first meeting with our drafter last Tuesday, which would have been a week ago tomorrow, and she's just fantastic. So we met with her on Tuesday. We outlined everything that we wanted, everything that we cared about, and she is excellent because she just hurries up and gets something on paper. And I know that the best way for us to move forward is to have something on paper that we can look at, that we can talk about, that we can work through together. So she hurries up, gets something on paper, has it to me by Thursday, so that over the weekend I can review it, decide, have time to think about it, my wife and I, and make whatever necessary changes we need to make, or whatever, so that we can make some progress in our second meeting. So I just kind of wanted to show you and talk to you about how that goes, how that went. So that's huge. A drafter who gets it on paper quick, and that way there's just some common ground that you're looking at and talking about. It's just a starting point. So if they don't catch your total vision and they miss things in that first preliminary drawing that they send you, don't worry about it. They're just getting it on paper so that you can talk about it. So then even in her first, if you can kind of see it, even in her first copy of it, she even made some red line corrections that were notes, things that she knew were important to us that she thought weren't going to work or wouldn't look right or didn't fit or whatever. So she even made red line corrections on the preliminary drawing. So then after that, I pull it up on the computer and I'm, marking it up in a PDF, and I draw even more stuff on it. And that's my brainstorming and going, making sure our setbacks are right and our size is right, and weighing out what's important to us and what's not, because we're not going to get everything we desire into it without going over on our square footage where we want to be. And so then I'm drawing on it too. And then, my wife gets a hold of it, which she's fantastic. She gets out colored pencils and does an even cleaner job than I do. But then she draws on it all the blue and the green and the orange, and puts her thoughts into it. Some of it was things we discussed together. Some of it were things that she added. And so then when we go back to this meeting, which we'll have another meeting with her either tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll discuss the things where we're willing to compromise and the changes we think there should be and the changes, that she thinks that there should be, and, discuss what will work, what will work with the roof lines. And from there, we will get, let me go to my notes. So from there, we'll have something on paper. We have something on paper to brainstorm with, something that we're all looking at, putting our ideas into. So then we'll have a second meeting where we discuss the options, reconfigure it, what'll work, what won't work, what'll work with the roof lines, what'll work with the basement. And then by the third meeting, the main structure, the main rooms will basically be dialed in nearly perfect. Maybe there'll be a few tweaks, refine a few details, small details, but it'll basically be right on. And that will be 3 meetings, not a ton of her time, not a ton of our time, and then we'll tabletop it for a minute because it's just about 95% done. And while it's tabletopped, I am going through our pre-construction planning process, which is pretty extensive. And typically, like if there's an architect, they'll be doing a lot of this, though a builder will be walking alongside of them. It's best to have a builder kind of overseeing it because they're the ones who are going to build it. They're the ones who are discussing budget with you. But So then I'll go through our entire planning process. I'll meet with the city, make sure that there's nothing that they're going to call out or want to change. I'll send a preliminary to the HOA, make sure that they're happy with the design and not going to flag anything later, so that when we have, we'll do a budget run in that to make sure that we're landing right on our budget and where we want to be. And then once all of that checks out and we've gone through the planning process, the budget, and consulting the two authorities that we need to consult, all of that checks out, then our final meeting, if we even have a meeting, it could be just probably an email at that point. We will add in all the details that we want into this plan, because the more details we have into this plan, the more on the same page everybody is. And that includes, like, if we're doing hardwood flooring, where, that would be 3/4 of an inch thick, versus if we're doing laminate flooring, that would be 3/8 of an inch thick. And just all those little details so that everybody's on the same page. We want to know where our plumbing is, where our hose bibs are. We want to know every detail that we can get on that plan. And that way it's just clear, it's all there. Most of what everybody else needs is on one construction document, and it just makes it go smooth. And we do that. We had our first meeting, which we give our ideas. We share the things that matter to us. Our architectural style, our virtual scrapbook. Second meeting, we discuss options and reconfigure the main structure, get it basically dialed in, discuss what'll work, what won't work, constraints, opportunities. Third meeting, we make any minor tweaks because we're pretty much there. Refine small details, but it's basically right on. Tabletop it, do the budget, go through the planning process, meet with HOA, city, and then make a list of all the details we want to add in for our final communication. And in six simple communications, we'll be through the plan and done with the drafter, and it will be smooth for her, smooth for us, and we'll have a great outcome. So that's how that should go. Kind of give you an idea. That's where we're at with it in this process. We're going into that second meeting, and I think that we'll be able to do this one in 5 to 6 communication exchanges, and we'll have a house plan that is extremely well planned, extremely on point, and it'll make the whole job go smooth from that point on. So that's what I wanted to share. That's where we're at in the process. I'm Robert with Heirloom Custom Homes. If you need some guidance in your planning process, that is where we shine. That's what separates us, distinguishes us, I guess, is that we have a ton of effort and a ton of time into that planning process. And we would be happy to share that wisdom with you in any way that we can. We'll continue to try to do so through these videos. And I hope that if you're going to build a custom home, this helps you to know what to expect and how to prepare yourself and just have it go smooth. And I'll get into so much more as we go. But anyway, I'm Robert with Heirloom Custom Homes. Thanks for watching.